So, what's your take on digitization? Coming from Panasonic recently launched the Mirai Pro factory, and Dassault introduced themselves, and they also introduced the DW suit. And how does that take on the shop floor, and how does that improve on the already efficient, and for that matter, there's already a demand, surge in demand, and how does these digital platforms help in the manufacturing, and what is ACMA's take on such softwares being developed and for that matter being provided to automotive component manufacturers in India?
So let me just say something about that with the new act. One, of course, the industry always knew that digitization was the way forward, and when the pandemic struck, those who were sitting on the fence got on board. Okay, so there's a huge initiative across the industry happening on digitization. I would say that there are so many companies that we engage with, and we conduct free webinars for membership for these companies to talk to them, okay, and then pick up a solution that suits them the best. But that apart, President referred to the ACMA Center of Excellence in IT, Delhi campus in Sonipat. We have set up a lab, and you must also understand that the texture of the industry, we have very many small and medium enterprises, and they cannot all afford Industry 4.0 solutions. So the solutions that you have to look at are, a mix of mechanical and electronics and pneumatic solutions. So what we do is we call them workstations or benches. There is a pneumatic station, there is a electromechanical station, there's a mechanical station, and there's an Industry 4.0 station. Okay, we train personnel from the industry to come and learn how they can make their own solution to implement what we're saying digitized solution for their factories. You understand? Because as a small and medium enterprises, you don't have enough and more resources to hire consultants who come and give them the advice, and also sometimes the kind of solutions that you talked about are really very expensive for small and medium enterprises to afford. I think that's a great service that we're doing for the industry.
So, with regard to digitization, I'll call it smart manufacturing. This is something that's inevitable. We're moving in that direction. Again, going back to the fact that we're a very mature industry, and we've invested heavily in the past in terms of Kaizen, etc. All we're doing now is taking that onto a digital platform. So all the continuous improvements we've been doing, and Industry 4.0, if you look at it, it's all about flexibility and automation. So automation is happening. We have to adjust ourselves to flexible manufacturing because of the fact that schedules change at the rate at which they do. More companies are investing in this automation, AI, Internet of Things. I mean, if you look at low-hanging fruits like end control, when you look at a product at the end of a line which needs to be checked by the human eye, this can be easily automated, and you can bring AI into this in that process. And by doing that, you can redeploy manpower into other processes. So this is inevitable, and we're moving in that direction. As Vinnie said, it's easier for the tier ones to move in that direction because of the investments required. However, the tier 2 and tier 3 supply chain is going to have to move in that direction, and because we're going to see that on a global platform, on a global basis. If you look at maintenance, you're going to have to see how you can do remote maintenance of machines, and that's also going to come in, and it's not a far-fetched thought. I can't answer the question of whether we'll be in the metaverse, and like Samsung is today, and other companies are. But from a technology perspective and a technology display perspective, this gives us as a component industry a great opportunity for people to come and view what's happening. If you looked at what happened in the pandemic, audits were done online. So you could actually go walk a factory floor and do an audit of a company because digitization reached the stage it did. As we improve the infrastructure and the bandwidth, within the country, we'll see more acceptability and more people moving quicker to this whole digitalization, smart manufacturing, smart factories, smart cities, smart cars, everything is going to become smart.
Sir, apart from digitization, there is electrification, which is a new norm. So not just passenger cars, but commercial vehicles alike are looking forward to this. OSM recently announced their M1K. Euler Motors also said that they are launching their new three-wheeler, which is electrified. And then I think a couple of months back, there was an LNG summit that happened. So there was a discussion of hydrogen. When it comes to auto components, when it comes to electrified auto components, so many of the components may seem to cease their operation and new components might be introduced. What is your take on that?
So there's a drivetrain and a battery that's really the defining difference in an electric vehicle versus an ICE engine, combustion engine vehicle. So a lot of the components still exist. And then with the electrification come a lot of new opportunities, whether it be in the powertrain or in the battery space, or in the connectivity space, or in the infrastructure space, or in the entire ecosystem will bring about a lot of opportunities. So I mean, and I said this before, we're moving from an automotive to a mobility industry, where people, whilst fewer people may apply for driver's licenses, more people want to be mobile. So we're going to have the opportunity to keep improving on mobility and how people, move from place A to B or point A to B. And therefore the opportunities are going to exist. So whilst an engine may not exist in an electric vehicle, there will be other components that new players could get into. Having said all this, engines are not going to go away.
Of course.
So it'll take a long time before we, don't see engines anymore. But then you've got alternate fuels, you've got flex fuel, you've got people like you talked about hydrogen, etc. And depending on the technology, engines will still exist in some shape or form. But you're right, in terms of these three-wheelers that you're talking about launching electric vehicles, I think when you want to do last mile connectivity, when you want to move goods, etc., it's making more sense to go electric. The other side of that, the flip side to that, is we've got to go renewable in terms of energy for electric to really make sense. And that's where we're seeing, with all that's being discussed in the COP26 summit, and that's where we're seeing which the Prime Minister is focusing on the 5-pronged strategy to move towards renewable energy, and companies moving towards creating or generating renewable energy. There's a green technology bill that also came out. So all this is going to really see growth in terms of electrification and the actual benefit from electrification.
By what time do you reckon that all the commercial vehicle manufacturers, OEMs for that matter, am I exceeding the time limit or something?
No. I'm just listening to your question.
By what time do you reckon that the OEM manufacturers of commercial vehicles, especially let's say Eicher, Ashok Leyland, all these companies, and they are opting towards electric commercial vehicles? And
I can't answer any questions for OEMs. I'm not qualified to do that. So we're seeing a lot of investment from the component industry to prepare. When we did a survey of the executive committee of ACMA, 60% of our membership said they were ready to supply to to electric vehicles, and 40% said in the next 2 years they'll be ready to supply. So I can again comment on the component industry, but that's I have the knowledge to do that. But as far as OEMs concerned, I don't know. We hear about OEMs working on electrification, and I'm pretty certain that given the trend, more companies will go electric.
Thank you so much, sir.